Life Imprints podcast, legacy stories that live beyond. Turn up the volume on today's riveting story with your host, Kenny Mauck, at kennymauck.com, and leave your life imprint with your legacy story.
Hey everybody, I'm so excited to be here in Davison, Michigan with my parents, Louie and Melanie Mauck. Our podcast is today is about leaving your life imprint, of course, but we're taking different segments of leaving your life imprint, and I'm just really blessed to have my parents with me. They've been so important part of my life, and so I'm gonna pepper some questions for them this morning that I'm hoping that we'll get some inside information about their life that I think will be helpful. You know, that my parents have been married now for 63 years. And I was telling them this morning that that's longer than most people live in a lifetime. And so, you know, they have a voluptuous amount of information about, you know, how do you survive, a world in which, you know, marriages are attacked, and yet here we have a legacy story right in my own family. So I'm excited to tell you, and it wasn't an easy beginning, and so I just wanted to, you know, just tell them, just tell the audience briefly. My parents, I'll let them share briefly about their story, but I think coming from them, it'll even be better. So. I like my mom to start out and tell you just a little bit about and my dad, you know, however they want to go, but just, you know, how they met, and, you know, how many dates they had, and because this is going to be really exciting to hear from them for the first time, that you'll get to hear about a couple that it didn't start out so easy, but it ended up being an amazing story.
Well, it is an amazing story. I owe a lot to my parents because they trained me to go to church. And, that's a wonderful thing. And they taught us the Word of God. And I don't think I've ever been so excited about that part of my life as I am the last years that I live, because I see what has happened to our country when they don't have any of God in their lives, or even, you know, on a daily basis. And we had prayer every day. We actually lived a life that we were happy doing that. And we didn't feel like we were made to do anything, really, only just to be right. And so I'll let my husband tell you a lot about our courting and that kind of stuff. He might can add a little juicy part.
Just to piggyback on what Mom said, I think I remember even as going to visit Mom and Dad, meeting with your parents,
right,
was that we would go to bed every night in prayer.
Yes,
and I think that's what Mom's trying to say is her background was very steeped in her faith and her walk with Christ, and so was Dad, but. You know, Dad had an interesting situation. He had been married before, and so all of a sudden he comes to DeRidder, Louisiana, is where they met each other. So Dad, tell us a little bit, just briefly, how many dates you had with Mom, and what it was, just briefly, what it was like to go to DeRidder, meet Mom, and then. Some of the issues that you faced with by being a person who was married before, and her family was not too happy about that you had been married before.
Well, I was dating I really wasn't dating. They wouldn't let us date much, but I loved a girl who was the youngest of four girls, baby. I was in the Korea conflict and had lost an eye, and with the divorce problem and with the loss of eye, you can imagine my mother-in-law was not too happy with her daughter's choice. So anyhow, we decided to...
Did you go date?
We had one date. We went golfing with my brother-in-law and sister, and my brother-in-law was the pastor of the church. So he called us in and said, look, Murder May's not too happy about this situation. why don't y'all just break up? And we did. We went out and talked about it and broke up for 2 or 3 months. But the emotions were still there. We finally got back together, and then we eloped. We ran off and got married. And I will tell you the success of a marriage, though. Everybody needs to know this. After 63 years, if you put your hands together and you just touch each other, that means 50-50. And you can't make a marriage on that. You have to be able to go about 75% each one of you. And then you only have a few problems that are very serious that you can take care of. So that is really the secret of a good marriage, is to make sure that you are with each other and can get by 70-80% of the time, and you'll make it. And after 63 years, it's still the same. And so that's pretty well the story about that. I could not get work in the field of actually anything except retail because of the eye problem. Industry wouldn't hire me. So I became a merchant, and I took this family all over the United States. We were in Louisiana, Indiana, Portland, Oregon, Joplin, Missouri, Mobile, Alabama, and ended up in Flint, Michigan. And my daughter said that she did not want me moving anymore. And if I did, she was staying in Flint.
So that's why, my family moved around a lot. But what I was trying to share through this story was that with mom and dad is just the difference of dad's background and mom's background. But what was so exciting to me as a son, they ran off, got married, and the family wasn't happy. But my grandmother on my mom's side actually ended up being one of his favorite son-in-laws. She had three other son-in-laws, but this was the son-in-law that she got really close to.
It did not happen overnight.
Yeah, it took some years. But I guess their perseverance between my mom and my dad, taking us to church. Music was an important part of our family's life. And I just will never forget, that all the impressions that they have made, in terms of my faith, the music that I was able to be a part of when I sang and wrote and had a group there in Michigan, and then we were involved in choirs all the time. And so your parents, you learn both the good and the challenging parts. There's no perfect book about how to be a parent, but my parents, after 63 years, they remained faithful. And dad did move us around a lot, and mom, was persevering through that time. But I'm just really, really excited for what they have meant to my life, and what I think that they can. You'll see in the book, their whole life story has been a pretty amazing story to me. So I just wanted to give you a highlight today about their life story and a little bit about what we as a family has made us, the principles that have made us strong. And so I hope it's helpful to you today. Sorry about our little animal there today. He wanted to be a part of the family too. His name's Manny, and he is a dog that wants to be a part of everything we do. And I guess today he would not relent until he got to be a part as well. So anyways, really great to have some moments with all of you this morning, and I hope this helps you today as you pursue your own life at Legacy.
Life Imprints Podcast. Legacy stories that live beyond. Turn up the volume on today's riveting story with your host, Kenny Mauck, at kennymauck.com. And leave your life imprint with your legacy story.